I am Prince Vegeta. Kneel before your god.
What's good, YouTube? Andre here with the DM Network, aka Mr. DM Gaming. Y'all, today I want to talk about the recent leaked information about the Majin Buu and Cell Saga, as well as some DLC content or ideas for DLC in the game. And I do have a special guest with me in this video, and I want to let him
Hey,
go
what's up?
ahead.
It's Makai saying the Fresh Sand. So I'm over here with Dmgaming, and we about to be talking about some crazy shit.
Some crazy stuff, man. So before we get into all of that, y'all follow me on my social media platforms. PlayStation ID is DMGaming5, Twitter at DMGaming5, Twitch at DMGaming06, and Instagram at DM_network on Instagram. Also, y'all go to the Facebook page. It's at DMGaming06, and follow us there, like us on there as well. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications because we uploading all the time and you don't want to miss anything. Join that over 9,000 hype squad. So,
Hey,
Makai, information just broke out. It was posted to Generacion Xbox, which is a Spanish Xbox gaming site. It's not, I don't think it's an official site, but they do have their own website and things like that. And it is in Spanish. But I do have it translated on the image here. It says Dragon Ball Z Kakarot will also cover the saga of Cell and Majin Buu. Now, reading the article, y'all, the article doesn't give any confirmation from Bandai Namco. The article gives confirmation from Geekdom 101.
I'm weak, yo.
So I'm not gonna say take this with a grain of salt because I will say this: Geekdom is extreme. If anybody is credible in the Dragon Ball community, it's Geekdom. However, sometimes he is wrong. In this situation, I don't think he's wrong because I've even been saying it on my channel that the game is gonna go past Frieza, man. Like that's not a surprise. So, Mikhail, what are your thoughts on it?
So like, how I'm thinking about it is that whenever, like, just referring to Geekdom real quick, he he is like a credible person. What he does is he double check, triple check his sources. Now, I don't know if he says something second about it, but typically when he makes like a statement like that, he usually makes it when he knows something. Like earlier in like the year, he said something about Dragon Ball Super coming back, and everybody's like, we believe him because he said he double triple checked his sources, and then
Mhm.
when it didn't turn out that it got announced, everybody over here trying to come at him. So it's like I don't think he's the type of person to do that. Now, as far as the actual game covering the after Frieza, the Cell Saga, and the Buu Saga, I would say it makes sense only because how we were looking at it. This follows the story of Goku. Goku not really doing much between like he probably does the most between now and the Frieza Saga, but after the Frieza Saga, unless they're covering like the canon but off-screen stuff like when he's on Yard Drat or when he's traveling back to Earth and like some other stuff ow, and some other stuff happening, then I could definitely see this game going to the Buu Saga because you have so much content to cover, and even if you streamlined it a bit more, you still have a lot to work with. And especially if they introduce more characters, like you could do it like some of the old school Dragon Ball Z had this, like Gohan, Vegeta, some other people introduced, and you definitely have a lot to work with. So it'd be a missed opportunity if they just go to say the Frieza saga and then they try to get you to buy a DLC, which I think I can see where they're going from a business standpoint, but at the same time, I think that would be really bad. I don't think Bandai would do something like that.
Yeah, so like with Geekdom, you right, you're 100% right. Those of y'all who know Geekdom knows that if and he'll tell you if I'm gonna Geekdom will say if I'm gonna come out and say something, I'm gonna have my ducks in a row. I'm gonna triple double check my sources. And I know people would probably say, well, Geekdom doesn't really do gaming. Somebody like Rhymestyle would have been a more credible source for the gaming community, stuff like that, because he works alongside Bandai Namco in a sense. But here's the thing, people, you have to understand about Geekdom is that Geekdom knows people. He knows more people in the community than Rhymestyle does. Geekdom knows voice actors Geekdom knows developers, publishers. Like, I mean, and you don't have to hear information from like Bandai Namco. All you have to do, if you know one of the voice actors for the game, the voice actors will tell you, because guess what? They're already working on these things. He knows people over in Japan that are voice actors. Like, he knows more people than Rhymestyle. So don't think that just because Geekdom is saying it that, well, he doesn't do gaming, so he's not credible. No, the man is extremely credible. And do I believe him? Yeah. Why? Because I've even said myself that it makes sense that it would go to the Cell Saga. Now, the question is, how is this going to be playable? Because the game is touted as being played through the eyes of Goku. And we know from videos that I've done that there are going to be certain missions that you can do as other characters, because we had that screenshot that showed that you play, it says as Goku, go and fight the robots for Ader in a sense. And it's not going to say that unless you can do stuff with other people. Now, I don't think it's going to be to the extent to where you can play through the entire game as somebody else, but I believe that there are going to be parts that will be. So, for instance, let me tell you, Makai, this was my theory. Perfect example, when you're fighting Nappa, okay? When they fighting Nappa, you had Tien, Krillin, Piccolo, Gohan, all of them fighting Nappa, right?
Right.
While they were doing that, Goku was training with King Kai.
Yeah.
So picture this, because you can go to different locations. So picture this. While on Earth, you have to, during the Nappa and Vegeta part, you have to play with Krillin now. But simultaneously, you could go to King Kai's planet and continue that part of the story with Goku. But you can't get to the part where Goku is on Earth until you finish up with Goku on King Kai's planet. So you're kind of playing two different main missions at the same time. Yeah, and so in order to advance the story, you have to complete both of those missions. That's what I think. Or they could do their part, Krillin's them part, do that as a potential side quest. It's not part of the main mission, but it is something necessary to give backdrop for the main mission.
Yeah, I can see that. That'd actually be cool. And it kind of have kind of like that, you know how like JRPGs like do that sometimes where like they did it in Final Fantasy 9, like not necessarily for like a main mission, but like you'll have a quick time event and then you'll be out, like you'll be here and then you'll be elsewhere until that quick time event's done. You can't like go back to like you, and sometimes they some of them were mandatory, so that would actually be cool.
Yeah, so I mean, and like I said, I don't, I'm in the comment section, and I don't mean to come off as rude or upset. Nobody's stepping on my toes. It's just one of those things where it's like, guys, you have to think of this from a business standpoint. It's 2019. This game is going to come out 2020. I honestly believe it could be pushed back, but that's whatever. I mean, it could be pushed forward. It could end up coming out in November, but I'm not getting into that right now. But I feel like it makes sense. Like, dude, you have to think about this. Xenoverse 2 went all the way up to Dragon Ball Super, because people were saying, if it had Super in it or whatever, like, dude, it's possible. Here's the thing. I've said, even if the game released and only went to Frieza, they are gonna put Buu and Cell in here, be it DLC or it's gonna be in the regular game itself. So this is not anything surprising to me at all.
Yeah.
And so when people telling me this stuff, I appreciate it. I like to hear it. But at the same time, it's like, bro, we've been talking about this since this game been announced. This is nothing new.
Yeah. Well, and then I just wanted to say something. So like when you go back and you know how you said that like even like Dragon Ball Xenoverse had the like Beerus and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the crazy thing is that likely what will happen, like almost every Dragon Ball Z game, you like at least the ones I played, they at the very least go up to the Cell Saga, because like for some odd reason, Cell Saga in a lot of Dragon Ball Z games is always like a good place to stop. But then when you look at this game, it's like the Buu Saga is like a really good place. Like that map will have so many locations by the end of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then it makes more sense if they have DLC referring to like say Dragon Ball Super stuff. So like you have the events with Beerus, maybe you have a couple like a bunch of side quests. Then you have the events of Frieza coming back. You know they really want to upsell Frieza, so
Mhm.
I don't think they'll try to stray away from that opportunity. And then as far as the future Trunks and the Dragon Ball Super stuff, I would be surprised if they didn't have that as DLC because if they're gonna stay canon, they'll at least go with super canon stuff. If they wanted to stray to movie stuff, but at the most, again, I'm looking at the canon side, and if you look at the manga, they got it's just a lot of potential when it comes to DLC in that regards too.
And here's the thing that people don't or people need to understand as well is in the earlier games like the Budokai series, how
Yeah,
Budokai, the very first Budokai went up to sell. Um
yeah,
and it didn't go to Majin Buu. Then the following one did, and so on and so forth. One thing is back then when games were coming out, we didn't have DLC. There was no season passes. There wasn't things like it is now. So of course
yeah,
you even though the story had been complete and they could have very well put it up to Majin Buu, they had to leave something for the next rendition of the game. But
exactly.
now that's not the case. Also because of now we're able to do DLC and they're marketing and doing these games now to be more of an extension. So this game comes out when this game comes out, they're going to support this game for maybe 2 if not 3 or more years. So that walks us immediately into what could be DLC. It makes sense to fill it up with the Buu Saga because that's going to keep you playing this game probably for half a year, depending on how long you do everything. And then on top of that, what is going to be DLC? Because I know CyberConnect 2 has done DLC for the Naruto series. The way that Bandai marketing their game, it is going to make sense to do DLC for this game. So, what are your ideas? What do you think that DLC could potentially be for the game?
So like as I said, I think the DLC honestly, again, it could be either the Dragon Ball Super stuff, or since it's technically following the story of Goku, it could even be like prerequisite stuff. Like they could go backwards and go back to Dragon Ball and like have it to where you go through those events because as you know, the androids come from the fact that Goku had a whole assault with the Red Ribbon Army and didn't finish off the scientist, Dr. Gero. So I feel like they could even go backwards and go to like important events that shape the story of Dragon Ball Z. Cause like most people who like Dragon Ball Z, they don't remember too much about Dragon Ball and they don't remember how Goku had that whole bout with the Red Ribbon Army. So they could even do something special with that, like have like a special episode type of thing.
Okay, so you're thinking like a fan. I want you to think like a
Like
business
a
person
all right,
looking
so
at
bit
from the outside
fine.
in.
So
What would you do for DLC? Because I know the answer that
so
I'm gonna say. I want to hear
all
what
right,
you're gonna
so if I'm
say.
looking at it from a business standpoint, I would milk the crap out of the tournament of power because we were told that you could fight multiple enemies. So if it was me, I would look more so into the Dragon Ball Super stuff that like a lot of people were pumped for. Most people were pumped for the Universal tournament against Universe 6 and 7. A lot of people liked the Future Trunks arc and well both, so that's also something I would look into. And then a lot of people like the Tournament of Power and just looking into the Dragon Ball Super manga to go with stuff like I would look into more of that territory because if not, it's the movies I would like try to consider. But again, if I'm staying true to the story, I would look more towards Dragon Ball Super or even like just like other stuff like that.
Yeah. So what people have to realize is that first of all, the director for this game is a huge Dragon Ball fan. Now,
Yeah,
as a fan, it would be freaking awesome to have a Dragon Ball based game like this because Dragon Ball is huge. It's huge. It's full of adventure. But
yeah,
you have to look at it from a marketing standpoint as well because CyberConnect 2 is going to bring ideas to the table. Bandai is going to give them a box of what they want, and CyberConnect 2 has
yeah.
to bring these ideas to the table to get approved. And so when they come to the table, okay, let's talk DLC. Are we going to do season pass? Or are we going to do Are we gonna do what is the DLC gonna be about? You know, I'm sure they said, hey, we could do, like you said, a backdrop, kind of give a prologue, like Dragon Ball type missions and stuff like that. You play as Kid Goku and stuff like that. Well, that sounds good, but everybody's into Dragon Ball Super. They just released the Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Super Broly movie. Xenoverse is putting out Dragon Ball Super characters. We are still yet to release Broly and Gogeta in Dragon Ball Z Fighters. So I'm thinking like
You're
this, Cyber
right.
Connect 2. What's a better idea? Is let's make our DLC Dragon Ball Super base, because that's going to piggyback off Dragon Ball Super, the anime returning. It's going to
Yeah.
piggyback off the manga that started back. It's going to piggyback off Dragon Ball Fighters with new characters, as well as Dragon Ball Xenoverse, who is set to release Super Saiyan God red haired Vegeta. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I get you. So they're like more so it's the Dragon Ball Super S stuff. So all right.
yeah, strike the
So
iron
yeah.
while it's hot, you know. That's
Yeah.
that's
Like
that's what I think they'll go with DLC, and it
yeah.
you know it makes sense because also people have to understand that two of the Dragon Ball movies, Fukatsu no F and Battle of Gods, were labeled Dragon Ball Z movies. Now Cyber Connect
Yeah.
2 isn't big on Dragon Ball movie. I mean, they're not big on movies. In the Naruto
Yeah.
games, they didn't do a lot of movie stuff. They did outfits and stuff, but that was about it. But if
Yeah.
you look at it, Dragon Ball Super falls before the end of Z, so it even makes sense um to make Dragon Ball Super a part of the game. It's almost a no brainer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So will there be DLC? I'm sure that there's going to be DLC because, like I said, the same way they're stretching out fighters, the same way they're stretching out Xenoverse, they're going to stretch
Yeah.
out this game. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the question just remains like, what is going to be DLC? Do you think some people want movie characters? But when they was asked about movie characters, they said that there are going to be Easter eggs throughout the game. Also,
Yeah.
homages to Dragon Ball, Launch, Nom, Ader, people like them. That's
Yup.
already in the game. Now they did say too, Akira Toriyama is working with them on this game, and there's going to be lore questions that are going to be
Yeah.
answered, and that's where we get into speculating. Are we going to get to go to Yardrat and see what's going on? Are we going to see what happened when Goku actually went SS3 for the first time? You know,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get in contact with Geekdom because I know he knows deeply about the lore of Dragon Ball, and I would love to be able to kind of talk with him about that. So,
Yeah.
but that's my plans. That's what I think that DLC is going to. I think DLC is going to go into Super. Um,
Yeah.
and I think there may be stuff in game that has to do with the movie characters in a sense. So, but there could be missions. You know, the DLC could you could have missions in the game, or it could be like hidden stuff in the game. You know, kind of like secret bosses. A lot of games have secret bosses in RPGs and stuff. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. And that's what I was thinking. Like, if they don't like do like movie instances, they could even have like certain things pop up as like enemies or like a side boss or something. So it's not a part of the story, but it's like side content. Like, oh, you do all this, you end up fighting like Cooler or something, and it's like he's not in the game as story, but like a side like boss.
yeah.
I mean, or like you remember Attack of the Sands on the DS? You could fight Brawly in that game,
hmm And
even though
even
like
go ahead.
no, I wasn't. That's all. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I say this game all the time, dude. But Dragon Ball Z: Legend of the Super Saiyan on Super Nintendo, at the end of the game, if you defeated Frieza a certain way, you end up fighting Super Saiyan Vegeta. Now the game didn't go past the Frieza saga, but you still got to fight Super Saiyan Vegeta, and if you beat him, you got to use him on your team, and you could replay through the story with Super Saiyan Vegeta on your squad. Like I'm like, so you know, it's so much that they can do, man. So much
Yeah,
stuff that they can do.
that's facts.
But I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to add or say or anything? Y'all, I'm gonna put a link to his channel in the description box below. But if you want to give a shout out for your social media handles, Discord, all that kind of stuff, you can go ahead and do that
So
for the
if you
people.
guys if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter. It's just Makai San, Makai San, Saiyan. You'll find me. You'll see my mug. Just hit that follow button.
That's what's up, man. But I appreciate you for stopping in, man. It's always a pleasure, y'all. We doing a lot of videos together, so expect some content on his channel as well. Some things that we've
trying
done.
to like take this to a whole nother level. But
Yeah.
we're gonna be out here.
Oh yeah. But y'all, that's all I got for right now. Like I said, hit the subscribe button if you're new or if you haven't subscribed yet, and turn on notifications because I'm dropping every day, man. I'm going to be the hardest working. I'm at work, Makai. You know, we out here battling with each other, but it's enough bread for everybody to eat at the table. So that's all I got for right now, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Till next time. Thanks for watching.